Gentles and ladymen, I'm Spiro, and I'm not a wizard. Today, I'm going to talk about another sidetrack I've taken, which is part of the research I'm doing into making the engine for my c64 text adventure, and I've kind of been delving a little bit more into Inform, Z Machine, and I kind of did so because I discovered that there was a tool called Ozmoo. Anything I talk about, I'll try and remember to leave down links in the description. So it will compile version 3 Z Machine files, games, into c64 disk images, which is just fantastic. And I kind of started, on one hand I've been working on the engine and writing up kind of my designs for that and my plans, and I'm also doing a design document for an adventure game which at the moment I'm going to be implementing through Inform, the Z Machine. I don't know if this will, if I'll even upload this anywhere, but this is more for my own research. But I like to take tangents and get sidetracked on things easily. I'm not that I've I just kind of like to juggle a lot of things at once, and so this is another thing, and it is kind of related. Well, it is related because writing a game for the Z Machine will hopefully, and it already has given me a couple of ideas, will hopefully help me build a more coherent game engine. It's been kind of interesting. So I wrote up this thing. I really love Lovecraftian horror, Cthulhu mythos, and so I started writing up this game called The Inheritance, a sweet tale of intrigue, horror, and madness. And it's set in the 20s. There's a few things I've learned. I've added an insanity mechanic. So as you discover things that might make your mind kind of, things outside our normal realm, your insanity will go up. And when I've got when you run your score, it'll also display it won't display your sanity numerically or your insanity. It'll tell you, because the variable is actually insanity, but the player, so I also play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game, and in that you have a sanity statistic, and that starts out at something high. The maximum is 99, and as it drops, you slowly become insane. So from the player's point of view, they care about their sanity, but from my engine point of view, I care about their insanity. I don't know, it just made more sense to me to increase insanity rather than decrease sanity. I don't know. So if your insanity is 0, your sanity is currently unshakable, and then it drops. So I've added a couple of functions in there. So one of them, when a player loses sanity, I run a function called increase insanity with a value, and then that adds that value to their insanity. Then it checks their sanity, and it will display some text based on how their sanity is feeling. And if insanity is greater than equal to 50, the dead flag equals true, and you fall to the ground in a gibbering sack of meat. It is unlikely anyone will ever find you alive again. So this is, I'm playing. This engine has the concept of floating objects, or rather, you can use the concept of floating objects to when a player uncovers something, you can assign it to them then, and like, for example, the front door key gets given to you at the beginning, but because you can't start with an inventory, oddly, well, not really oddly, there's an initialize function. So during that initialize function, when it displays the initial text, I say move front door key to player, and then you just do an update so that the engine knows that items have moved. There are certain things apparently that will trigger an update, but because I've done it manually, I've got to push it myself anyway. I'm not sure if I should be going too much into the details of how this and Inform works, because but anyway, I've started off, and I've broken down all the places. Obviously still working on a lot of them, and I've done a little bit of work. A lot of this is just basically transcribing things that I've been doing here, and that will make it easy to retranscribe somewhere else. And I'm not sure how much of my game engine will be able to cope with this. Like, mine is going to be a lot simpler than Inform, but it'll be an interesting thing to try. So anyway, I might just show you how this kind of operates at the moment. So we've got the inheritance.inf file, so we can use Inform. So the other thing that is part of this is that I'm including some variables called puny.h. So I'm actually using a thing called PunyInform, which is a subset of Inform. I think that is this Inform. So I'm using Inform 6, which is the proper Inform, but when I do I think it uses these libraries, and it figures out that I'm using PunyInform. So PunyInform doesn't have the full range of Inform Z machine options, so it's kind of cut down, and the reason it's cut down is because I can hear a cat meowing, is because it is an I don't know if you can hear that at all. She's a bit early for lunch. I guess PunyInform makes it easy for me or anyone using it to target the C64 because it kind of has that well, I won't say compressed may be the wrong word, but that shrunken version of the options. I don't know how to. Anyway, so let us. What am I doing? I probably should have inform. There we go. So if we compile it, let's just clear that. So we're saying add a lib directory target version 3 Z machine and -s switch. I completely forget what that option is supposed to do. So this has. Oh, and I'm also using debug mode, so that will allow me to, while I'm testing, jump around purloin items so that I can do testing. So this didn't have any errors at the top, didn't have any errors at the bottom, so we are good to go. I'll run it in SFROTS. So, oh, butt sticks. Just quit that. I've only just installed SFROTS, so I'm still getting to grips with the shortcuts. Let's go Alt Enter. Okay, so this is how it opens up. It is March 1923. You have spent the last 3 months and the better part of your life savings to travel to a manor house in a remote English countryside. The manor was left behind by an uncle who had long distanced himself from the family, living the life of a recluse since his wife died. You are the only surviving heir thanks to the ravages of the Spanish flu and the Great War. Allegedly, it took decades to finally track you down since his death. It is expected that no living soul has entered this abode since the coroner confirmed his passing. Not even the solicitors seem to have an interest, perhaps because this place is so remote. For them, it was nothing more than an exercise in paper pushing. And we get into the game. So you're on a dirt path. You stand on a dirt path leading to the Winters Manor. So the uncle's name is Earl Winters. Overgrown weeds and vegetation surround the area. Vines grow up the side of the manor, but it stands firm in its dark resolution, as if it is stubbornly denying the ravages of time. The veranda lies to the north and appears to be the only way of entering the house. So we can examine the house. This gives you a bit more detail. So if we go north, I'm going to have a cat jump up here very soon. We're on the veranda. So inset into the doors are stained. Oh, hello cat. You want to go in the window? Go on then. Go on up. Okay. Inset into the doors are stained glass panels of a curious design. So if you examine, I should use the full examine panels. The panels are made of stained glass, which perhaps in the daylight would be the brightest thing on this whole building. The shape is curiously like that of a dog or a wolf head. I'm not entirely sure what I'm showing you here. I'm just kind of going through. It's just a rambly video as usual. So we can. One of the debug options is tree, and that will show us where we are. So we're on the veranda. There is the front door. There is yourself. There is the front door key, which is under yourself, so it means it's in your inventory. And there is a stained glass panel. So if we do an inventory, you're carrying a front door key. Alright. Do we try and open the door? It seems to be locked. Unlock door with key. Open the door. I wonder if this does up. Oh, it has up arrows. If we do another look, the door is open, beckoning unto you. So we can enter the door, and we're in a main hall. Now, there are... I'll show an example of the... so currently, it shows you the score, and your sanity is currently unshakable, because at the moment there is no insanity. One of the other debug options is go near, so we can... I don't know, there is... I think in the full engine there's a go to option, so you can go to a location directly. For some reason PunyInform has only allowed the go near, which is to go into the location near the item you specify. So if I go near the desk, Earl's study is in complete chaos. Against the south window is a large oak desk with a high back chair. The desk and the floor are a mess of strewn papers and books, torn, screwed up, or mangled. North takes you to the hall, and east is the observatory. You can see a desk and a small drawer, which is closed here. So if we examine the desk, it's a mess, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so we want to open the drawer. It seems locked. I'm going to purloin the small key, because I know that the small key opens the small drawer. Purloined. Right, so we can go unlock drawer with, because I have two keys, I've got to specify small key. Okay, so we open the drawer. A chill runs down your spine, and your instincts are warning you that someone or something might be watching you. You open the small drawer, revealing an old journal. So if we open the journal, alright, a talisman falls out. So we'll start here. This is, it's kind of, I wish that there was the ability to pause text. The only way I can think of to do it is to have so many carriage returns that it will go off the screen and have to pause the screen for you. But that's... I wish I could print some text, have a pause, print more text. So anyway, you feel your sanity waver. A talisman falls out of the book. The writing is of a mundane nature at the start, but as it progresses, it degenerates into dark presences and great evil. The coherency of the entries rapidly declines, and the last few entries only have one thing in common: the word beneath. Diagrams of the hideous faces and creatures that lie beneath in the underworld are scrawled haphazardly on every page. You close the book, realizing that your knuckles have turned white and the tendons on your neck feel very stiff. This is an ill omen indeed. The score has just gone up by 10 points. So if we look at that sanity wavering and the score has gone up, we type score, and you'll see now it used to say sanity is unshakable, but it now says stable. So the let me show you an example of what would happen. So if we make the insanity at 49, and we know down here that when we get to 50, greater than or equal to 50, your mind will go snappity snap. So let's recompile that, rerun that. Okay, so now we're going to go near the desk, not go near dead. So one thing we'll also do is, because our insanity is 49, if we do score, it'll say your sanity is currently shot. Maybe I should say shot to hell. Knocking on hell's door. So we want to purloin the small key. We want to unlock drawer with small key. And we want to open the drawer. And we want to open... Oh, we can see, we can also, I showed you we opened it, we can also read journal. And the command we entered up here was your mind could not, so it actually, I'm kind of annoyed that the order of this is the wrong way around. Like, I would really have liked it to have read out the description first, like a talisman falls out of the book, the writing, and then it should go into, this is an ill omen, and then it should apply the insanity and say, your mind could not comprehend the magnitude of the horrors it was forced to endure, and it has broken. You fall to the ground a gibbering sack of meat. It is unlikely anyone will ever find you alive again. And then it says, a talisman falls out of the book. So then it says your score has gone up by 10 points. So you got the score for doing it, for opening the book, or for finding the talisman. But you have died. In that game, you scored 10 out of a possible 203 turns. And, well then. So, if you know anything about this engine and how I mean, I'm sure I'll figure it out, but it'd be interesting if you already know a bit about the engine and how to work through that. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure about, like, I know how to do it for individual commands. So let's go restart. So individual commands, like say sleep, I've rewritten. And if I go near bedside, we go into the master bed chamber. I can enter the bed. In this case, if I exit the bed, and then if I enter the bed again, you enter the bed. So the first time you enter it, you automatically go to sleep. The second time you enter it, you can manually sleep, and hopefully I've done it right. Bed where for? See, I haven't done it right. I've got a bollocks on my code, so it should be that when you go sleep, when you're in the bed, it will allow you to go to sleep. Okay, so that, if I set that back to 0. Now the great thing about Visual Studio Code as I've configured it is that I don't have to press save, it's automatically saving everything. So the other thing that this, what was I going to do? Was I going to talk about something else? I can't remember. Anyway, let's recompile it quickly. And I can use this Ozmoo tool and pass it the compiled Z machine file. Now Ozmoo has some weird things where, anyway, I'll compile it first. So I've configured Ozmoo to use a different font and to change the colours, and as we can see, it has successfully built the game as c64 _ inheritance.d64. Alright, so we've now got a c64 disk image. Now I was going to say, oops, Ozmoo. So I'll show you. So I've got an Ozmoo shell script which calls up Ozmoo, because Ozmoo has to be in a weird directory. So it sets the story name, so it uses that for the d64 image program name. It will automatically set the name of the disk, the title of the disk, to your file name, but it sets the story name as, I think, just story name or something weird. I think it just calls it story, unless you tell it. Anyway, so OzOps, which is the Ozmoo options, sets it as a single file. If you don't do that, I think it creates a loader and a data file, as you would be, as we do like on the local machine, where we've got to run our interpreter like frots and then pass it the file name. So the rest of the stuff just sets the colors, and the fonts. I jump into the Ozmoo directory, and because it needs to be in that directory to do the compilation or the creation of the d64 file, and it's a Ruby program, so you got to run it. I run it with the options, the source directory, which is where I start from, and my int file. So, but because it will create the d64 image in this directory, I then move it back out to my source directory, and then pop my directory stack, and then the disk images in here. So we can look at the disk that it creates by going c64 and the file. If we go dir, so this is using C1541, which is Vice's 1541 disk tool. So we can see we've got a disk title of inheritance, and we've got a story name or a file name of inheritance as well. Okay, so we can now run that in our emulator. Buck. It's a little bit slow to boot. This is interesting. I noticed I've changed I recompiled my Vice under Linux to use the GNOME libraries instead of the STL stuff. So the GNOME version has got all the gadgets and stuff and these things, and it seems to go into warp mode when it's loading. I have no idea why it's taking so long. This one is Alt D for full screen. It does take a little while. How long have I been recording for? 28 minutes. Okay, so now you can see it's gone off warp mode, powered by Ozmoo. You saw that we can go into dark mode by pressing F1. So let's full size that. So again, we get into the same thing. Now this D64 version has got a flashing reverse asterisk at the bottom. Oh, look at that! I do get a mouse pointer. I didn't get that with the STL version. And so this is actually your more prompt. So more. So I've set the colors so that we've got a bit more obvious title, and the color that you type in of the text will come in. Examine the hose. Oops, I don't know what a hose is yet. So it makes it easier to identify where your commands are and where the resulting text is. I find it a little bit difficult with everything being monochrome. So yeah, this is a little bit easier for me. And because this is in debug mode, it still supports the same options here. We can go near the desk. That'll take us into the study. We can purloin a small key, unlock drawer. We can actually use two words because I think we can desk drawer with small key. So we can be quite verbose. I think you want it. Oh no, we didn't say that. I might have taken off the name desk on the drawers. Unlock drawer with small key. See, it's a little bit slow, but it's working, and it's pretty good. I think the game has compiled here, if I remember, well, we didn't take notice, I think it's 150 odd blocks. Hello, little cat. Hang on, here she comes again. Meow. Okay, watch out. Hello, what's the time? You still got a bit to go, 20 minutes. Yeah, you're hungry now, are you? Yeah, I'm recording for the internet. Just put your tail down. Nobody wants to see that. Alright? Yeah? Oh, she's there. Okay, I'm just talking to the internet. You don't know what the internet is. They're in there and they're in there. You're okay. You're okay, Chucken. You're okay. Your eye needs a clean. We unlock the small drawer. We open the drawer. A chill runs down your spine. Did you know that? Is there a chill down your spine? No? You don't care? Pretty scary. So we open the journal. You feel your sanity waver. But I put it back to 0 for the insanity, so we're not dead yet. Super duper. We've scored 10 out of a possible 200. I completely fabricated that 200. I don't know if there will be 200. And our sanity is currently stable. Yes, that is pretty exciting. And I like that. I'm looking into a way of compiling a Z Machine game for Linux and maybe Windows, I guess, and maybe Mac too, I guess, as one single binary. So that, I mean, the other option is for me to do a shell script or a bash script if I ever distribute it, you know, so that people just run one command and the game loads. But if I do that, I've then got to include the interpreter, and if people are into these games, then I guess I'd probably distribute the Z Machine file as well. I don't know. Anyway, I'm still just mucking around. I don't even know really what the point of this video was, other than the fact that I've just been playing around. I have learned a few new things. It's kind of cool. I've found I guess one thing that I do like is the format of this Inform 6 engine. The Inform 7 is very is too close to English language, and I find it tediously so. I don't. The code samples I've seen, the source samples I've seen, have I'll feature soon. The source samples I've seen have just really been so verbose and tedious. Like, I can't imagine writing something like that. Like, even though I've struggled with some things in here, like how to do doors, for example, were quite interesting. How to do secret doors, that was really interesting. So that was I've got a secret door here which is only visible when you pull a shelf from the wall, and this engine doesn't have, or I haven't found a way of doing secret doors. Like, I guess secret items you can do, because like the talisman, you assign it to nothing, and then when someone finds it, you move it into the location, and then suddenly there it is. But having a secret door, because of the way they're done, where you go, this door is found in this location and this location, I had to create a nowhere location, because you also specify the direction, the door directions, and the door to. So, where, you know, this is where is this visible? This is what directions can the person go, like up, down, east, west, to go through this door. And door 2 specifies the destination you're going to get to. So if you're already in one location, and depending on the found in, if you're here in location 1 and you use the first door direction, it will take you to the second location. If you're in the second location and you use the second direction, it'll take you to the first location. You know, figuring stuff out like that was kind of cool. I find, even though it was a struggle to do that, I still think that was less tedious than the way the Inform 7 is written. Personally, I mean, that's just because my brain can think in code, and I think Inform 7 was specifically written for non-coders, or maybe people who don't want that paradigm, and that's fine. That's you know, I think it's good that there are so many different ways of creating these games, and like the game engine I'm going to make for the C64 is going to be completely different. It's going to be all menu based, right? It's going to be a you know, you will create all the, it's going to be a lot more old school than these. You're going to create the objects, and then you're going to have to specify the triggers and the actions of the objects. So and that'll all be menu based. So that'll be doable by people who are non-programmers, like Inform 7, but using a different paradigm, you know, menu based rather than verbose like a novel. So that's fine. I think I'll leave it at that. Thanks for watching, and thanks for your support, and thanks for all your good comments. Please leave your comments and your thoughts below in this video, and I will see you in the next video.